a lot of the time women find me online, really love the idea of my work, but will never actually buy a ticket and come because they're like, oh, I wish I could, I wish I could be comfortable enough to come and do that with you. And I'm like, it's not supposed to be comfortable. You're just supposed to do it and then, reap the rewards afterwards. So generally women who do arrive have really pushed themselves out of their comfort zone to buy the ticket, to drive there, to show up, to change into their robes, and where we sit in a circle and there are no lights on. So I think this is also a common misconception, is that it's a regular yoga class with bright lights and you're in lines behind each other and, doing downward dog looking at someone else from behind. Not at all. It is very soft and intimate. So that we sit in a circle, there's a couple of little tea light candles in the center to just give us this goddess glow, and the whole thing is done in a circle, no one behind you. What I notice the most throughout the 3-hour workshop with these women is just their entire body language and then their energy. So everyone comes and they're kind of sitting, with their robes to start off with, all kind of huddled up, nervous. And then by the end, we're dancing around in the nude and they don't want to get dressed. I turn the lights on and they're like, oh, but it feels so normal to be naked now. And that's only 3 hours. It's not like we are rewriting conditioning, in a couple of hours and they go out and they are so comfortable now to be naked. But it's giving them the opportunity to taste what that liberation is like in only 3 hours. And so most of the time women just keep coming back because there's always another layer to explore and to work on, I guess, because we're ever changing.
Today's guest is Ricky, a passionate nude yoga teacher and certified sex, love, and relationship coach. Ricky's mission is all about giving people permission to feel confident in their bodies and sexuality, to explore their innate worth, and to embrace deep, fulfilling relationships. Driven by a desire to normalize nudity and destigmatize the body, Ricky empowers people to express themselves freely and experience their fullest pleasure. Ricky's journey into this transformative work began after a personal heartbreak that sparked a period of intense self-reflection and growth. Through studying trauma, emotional energy release, yoga, and energy healing, Ricky not only healed personally, but also found a calling to support others on similar paths. Known for a raw, playful, and unfiltered approach, Ricky brings authenticity and empathy to every session, guiding clients to embrace their true selves and break out of unhealthy patterns. Listeners, get ready for an inspiring conversation as Ricky shares insights on nude yoga, self-love, and creating healthy, empowered relationships.
I'm Krystal Arthur, and I'm your host for the Divine Desire podcast. This podcast is to gift you the sexy, spiritual, sovereign, and specific wisdom to help you find and follow your desire into the magical relationships, business, and life that serves the world and excites your soul. I have been studying and coaching in spirituality, wellness, business, and desire professionally for nearly 15 years. I've been on a journey from being a pastor's wife, mother, and seminary student riddled with depression and anxiety with a toxic marriage, to training in holistic health, hypnotherapy, practicing a tantric approach to sex, love, and relationships, having 5 kids, and a sexy, sovereign, and sacred union of 11 years. I've searched heaven and hell to discover the wellness, woo, and taboo paths and practitioners to help us remember the wholeness and truth, goodness, and beauty within. And I can't wait to share them with you. Do you have a divine desire to heal and reclaim your relationship with yourself, your power, purpose, pleasure, prosperity, and your partner? Do you have an inner knowing of a calling, but fear holding you back from honoring the truest part of yourself? What lights you up? You're in the right place. Some guests may stretch or challenge you. Some guests will help unlock your next level of evolution. My intention is that every conversation is a catalyst to you owning yourself and manifesting your truest desires. This is the space to remind us we are infinite and our desires are the roadmap to our dreams. Here you'll find the inspiration and implementation to go from doing your inner work to being and sharing the work of art that you are.
So I first want to ask you, You shared that what inspired you to get into nude yoga and relationship coaching was your own heartache. Do you want to go into that some? What was that? What was that moment for you?
Yeah, for sure. That heartbreak happened in 2015. So we're almost going back a decade now. So I was 25 at the time, and I had not yet done any self-development work. So I was still in my childhood conditioning, living from the societal conditioning. And that heartbreak at that age of my life, and perhaps because it was like a quarter century moment for me, something clicked in me. And I realized this is not how I want to keep living my life. I've done this pattern so many times and I'm only 25. I don't want this anymore. And it was one of the worst feelings in my body to have my heart broken. But then had the extra layer of fear because I had decided to go for something unknown. So it was from that place, and that was definitely a rocky transition. I fell back and 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing for many years. But I had decided in that moment to start learning who I am. I didn't know who I was before that. I didn't know who I was outside of relationships. I would jump from one relationship to the next, feeding on the validation of this other person and not knowing how to give that to myself. And it was a very slow journey. As I said, we're now almost up to 10 years that I've been on this personal journey. And it did start with reaching out to mentors and being like, tell me how to fix my life, before I got to the place of, I'm going to ask myself what I want to do to fix my life. But it all just evolved. It all snowballed. And the more that I learned about myself, the more I was able to choose the path of where I wanted my business to go. So this is just how it's evolved. I don't ever teach or guide or facilitate anything that I myself have not had a lived experience in. And that's a very integral part of my business.
That's really beautiful. When we were talking prior, you said that you don't struggle with imposter syndrome as much anymore. Like, it's really not something that you deal with anymore because you live it first.
Yes.
It's your own lived experience. So what was it for, like, so you found validation and you began living your truth. How did you find nude yoga? Like, how does that play a role in all of this?
Yes, I'm an avid traveler. I've always loved traveling, backpacking, seeing the world, experiencing new cultures, and doing it in a way that's not very fancy. Like, I love to stay in dirty hostels and I love to go into the rural places of countries. And I feel like having that experience really stripped back all of the creature comforts that I was just so used to getting my own way and having, I live in Australia and I live in abundance, I'm not high class, but I live in abundance. And I feel that really stripping away all of those things allowed me to see who I am at my core. And who I am at my core is someone who really values authenticity, realness, rawness. And with that, that symbolizes to me also nudity. That to me is emotional nudity. That's vulnerability. And then there's the physical nudity. And I grew up a dancer. When I stopped dancing, I then became a yoga teacher or I started practicing personal yoga. I needed to keep moving my body. And then I became a yoga teacher and it just made sense. I can't tell you where the inspiration came from, but it just made sense. I have always enjoyed being naked in nature. Not to say I don't have my own hang-ups about my body or didn't struggle with body image, but nudity in nature was something that always felt so normal to me. And I had been teaching yoga for many years until I heard about a woman in Australia who was running these nude yoga workshops. And they weren't just a yoga class done in the nude. They were a full 3-hour experience for women only, to come and journey through their relationship to their body. And that was just like all these pieces that I had been working on in my life and wanting to do, but never knowing how to combine them, was just kind of shown to me. And I was like, wow, I can do this. I can be naked. I can teach yoga. I can help women heal. I can share from my experience. And that's then how I became a Naked Awakening facilitator. I reached out to this woman and she trained me. And it's been honestly like she created the business for me. And I'm like, oh, thank you. That's nice. I don't have to do all that groundwork. But yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, that's really incredible.
If you're ready to heal your relationship with yourself and your partner, deepen your impact in the wellness or spiritual space, and reclaim your power and pleasure, you'll want to join our online community and newsletter. Newsletter sounds boring, but it's totally free and will ensure you don't miss a single transmission. Likewise, the community is an additional free space to remind us our desires are the roadmap to our dreams. Our community and newsletter dive deep into the challenges of balancing intimacy, personal growth, and building a purpose-driven business. You'll get exclusive insights from our podcast, along with tools and resources for things like embodying the power couple dynamic, where your business and relationship fuel each other, integrating fear and imposter syndrome in launching and growing a spiritual or taboo business, reclaiming power and pleasure, alchemizing shame and criticism. It's in community that you'll find the initiations and inspirations that will pave your path towards embodying your full potential. Joining the community will automatically add you to the email list. Again, it's totally free, and it's the #1 way to support the podcast. Simply go to KrystalArthur.com or click the link in the show notes. That's my name, KrystalArthur.com, or find the link in the show notes. Join us today and step into the true power of who you are, both in your relationship and in your business.
So you mentioned that you weren't always completely like, you're not, I thought that you're so body confident that it was like nothing for you to teach nude yoga. So how did you overcome any like insecurities about your body to be able to do something like nude yoga?
I think just to be honest, I think just getting a little bit older and learning what really matters was definitely a gift. And I think that perspective shift gave me an extra boost of confidence. And like, I don't remember a significant moment where my negative view on my body stopped and I became this, all confident nude yoga teacher. I still roller coaster in and out of how I look at my body. But showing up naked in front of a group of people, regardless if I feel confident or self-conscious, it doesn't stop that for me. I think what I cultivated the most was acceptance and compassion. And the thing I teach is acceptance in the fact that our bodies are forever going to change, especially as women, that is going to fluctuate. And it's okay to not enjoy what your body looks like for a certain amount of time, but then to celebrate it when you are feeling healthy and strong, and to just know that it's impermanence. Something I learned when I was in Nepal at a Buddhist monastery was impermanence, this concept of impermanence, that nothing lasts forever. And that was another perspective shift that just really clicked for me. And I'm like, why would I bother spending energy on something that is inevitably going to shift anyway? Why would I try and control something that is always going to change? I would much rather channel my energy into showing up for other people and showing them what is possible. So I don't think there ever was this massive shift of, now I love my body, let's go teach nude yoga. It was just, I've found something that continually challenges me, that keeps reminding me of the importance of self-acceptance and self-compassion. And how can I now share this with as many women as I possibly can, and men sometimes.
Yeah, so it's not that you overcame any body consciousness issues, but it's that the showing up anyway.
Yes.
And like showing up with all of whatever's present and accepting that it's there, but still being naked, still being raw, still being real.
Yeah, because for me, it's not the yoga teacher with the six pack, or like the beautiful long toned legs that I look at and go, I want to go to her class. I want to go to the yoga class where there's a woman who is voluptuous. She loves what she's doing. She enjoys it. Like, she doesn't need to look like what society tells us we must look like in order to do something. Not saying you can't have a six pack and do yoga, but my intention behind my work is very different to what regular yoga is.
Yeah, I love that. And I love just the concept of impermanent. Like, I used to be very self-conscious about my body. I really didn't like my body. I struggled with bulimia. And this was when I was like in elementary school, middle school, high school. And then I had kids and I wasn't expecting to get like a umbilical hernia and like my muscles, stuff like the diastasis. So my stomach was the only part of my body that I actually liked. And now I have a lot of loose skin and my stomach protrudes pretty significantly actually. Because I don't have the muscle support there. And I have the hernias, which I was advised to wait to get repaired until after I was done having kids. And so, I have that to look forward to sometime next year. But I was also told by multiple doctors that really it would be a full abdominoplasty to like repair the core and repair the hernias. And so until I'm at a stage where I feel like I can handle that substantial of a surgery, I have the body that I have. And it's been quite the process to like learn to love her and to accept like this is my body. It feels like even though I've had this body now for like going on 10 years, so that's like a third of my life almost. It still sometimes doesn't feel like my body, like even when I look in the mirror.
Yes.
And so what I hear you saying is like so inspirational. I feel like it's not that your body is, you have no thoughts towards your body that is less than sacred and wonderful and perfect, but it's loving the body that you're in and challenging yourself, even in the midst of maybe being in some judgment about your body. That's really inspirational. What do people who come to your yoga sessions and the entire awakening process, what do they say they experience?
Excuse me. They generally come very frightened. It takes a lot for these women to show up for this experience. A lot of the time, women find me online, really love the idea of my work, but will never actually buy a ticket and come because they're like, oh, I wish I could, I wish I could be comfortable enough to come and do that with you. I'm like, it's not supposed to be comfortable. You're just supposed to do it and then, reap the rewards afterwards. So generally, women who do arrive have really pushed themselves out of their comfort zone to buy the ticket, to drive there, to show up, to change into their robes, and where we sit in a circle and there are no lights on. So I think this is also a common misconception, is that it's a regular yoga class with bright lights and you're in lines behind each other and, doing downward dog looking at someone else from behind. Not at all. It is very soft and intimate. So that we sit in a circle. There's a couple of little tea light candles in the center to just give us this goddess glow. And the whole thing is done in a circle, no one behind you. What I notice the most throughout the 3-hour workshop with these women is just their entire body language and then their energy. So everyone comes and they're kind of sitting, with their robes to start off with, all kind of huddled up, nervous. And then by the end, we're dancing around in the nude and they don't want to get dressed. I turn the lights on and they're like, oh, but it feels so normal to be naked now. And like, that's only 3 hours. It's not like we are rewriting conditioning, in a couple of hours and they go out and they are so comfortable now to be naked. But it's giving them the opportunity to taste what that liberation is like in only 3 hours. And so most of the time women just keep coming back because there's always another layer to explore and to work on, I guess, because we're ever changing.
Yeah, I totally get that. I just started exploring like this year with like being in my naked body and letting myself like feel what that feels like. Like I had some experiences with my husband where we got to be naked and in nature. I went and on a retreat with other women where we were able to just be as naked or as clothed as we want to be, and just like experimenting with that and seeing how that feels in my body. And I was really, really surprised, especially given, like I said, like having struggled with an eating disorder and now being in a body that is nowhere near as culturally attractive in the nude as that body that I, tortured with an eating disorder, so like I would never have guessed that I'd be comfortable and like really feel good and even confident, like naked and in nature, naked in front of other women or other people. And what I found was I'm actually more comfortable in the nude than in clothes. Because in clothes, so we're told the shirt or blouse is supposed to lay a certain way, the dress is supposed to fall a certain way. And when you're just naked, it's just, like you said, it's just like so raw and so real. And I felt like I could even be more emotionally raw in that state. I love how you said that, like, it starts off and it's dark and you've got the goddess flow going on. But then by the end, everyone's just dancing and free. And that's also what I've experienced, like, at the retreat that I went on. Like, eventually you just get so comfortable. And you think, I know that a lot of people would think that there'd be some, like, sexual dynamic to it, but really it's just, how would you describe it? What do people perceive? You mentioned social media, people finding you on social media. So, like, personally, I couldn't imagine posting about some sort of nude offer on social media. So, what are people's perceptions or misperceptions, misunderstandings about what you do?
It's definitely, like, the most common misconception is that my work, because it involves nudity, somehow is a sexual thing. And that is something I always really try and drive home, is that just because it's nude does not mean it's sexual. And this is part of my mission around destigmatizing and desexualizing nudity for females and empowering the nudity on your own terms. So what I talk about in the workshops is the difference between sexuality and sensuality, and how these have been melded as one thing, and sensuality now falls under sexual acts in, the way that society explains it. So I would say my workshops they have sensuality incorporated within them, but not in a sexual way. So to me, sensuality is feeling pleasure. And you can feel pleasure when you are drinking your morning coffee, when you are brushing your hair, when you are watching a funny show and you just get that giggle that rumbles up from your belly. Like, this can be sensuality, and you can experience and tap into your sensuality anywhere, on the bus to work, at the grocery store. This is not a sexual act. Sensuality is an innate access to your pleasure. And so in these workshops, although we're naked, I really invite these women to tap into their sensuality. And the reason why I do this is to remind them of their inherent worth, their, like, goddess divinity, the fact that they can be sexy and naked, and it doesn't then have to lead to something sexual. Really separate in their mind and their body that their sensuality is theirs and their sexuality is theirs, and it's completely different. It's on their terms. So I think that is the hardest thing, is because I can talk about my work online, but no one really understands the work I do until you step into the space. Because I think it needs to be felt. It needs to be experienced. You need to sit there and be witnessed by 20 other women for you to really understand the depth of what I do. My mixed gender nude yoga stuff, that definitely gets more of a, people assuming it is like a swingers party or something, because, I love to do couples nude yoga workshops. And yeah, that in itself gets a lot more heat, I guess, from the internet. But again, it's not. I make sure that I'm very clear what the intentions are behind this workshop. Waivers are signed. If new couples are coming, I interview them. Like, I have never had anyone slip through my radar, my cracks, my vetting system, and come and really thought they were coming into a sexual experience. I'm very clear in the way that I market. But the world is always going to view nudity, I mean, I hope it doesn't always view nudity as sexual, but this is just how it is kind of come.
Yeah, definitely. I can imagine. So how do you, when you get that feedback or when you get people that have these misconceptions, how do you handle that? Like, how does that impact you and how do you process those emotions?
To be honest, it depends how I'm feeling each day. If I am feeling a little bit tapped out and low on energy, I just kind of say to the person, no, that's not what we're doing. Thank you. Goodbye. If I feel like I have a little bit more energy, I will use it as an opportunity to potentially re-educate or share a different perspective and give this person the opportunity to either go, oh, that's so interesting, tell me more, or no, I don't believe that. And then, go on your way. Like, I'm not here to try and change everyone's point of view on my work. I'm here to share my work with the people who are ready to receive it. So it does really depend on how I'm feeling to how I will respond to these people, but always with love and with compassion.
This is for conscious couples, coaches, and catalysts of spiritual and wellness businesses who feel like imposters in their business because their relationships are draining or toxic. Do you feel like your marriage or relationship is hanging by a thread, constantly fighting with your partner and worried about how it's affecting your kids, your energy, and your business? Maybe you've tried everything. New diets, another self-help book, another certification, all in an effort to fix yourself, your partner, your family. And yet here you are, burnt out, exhausted, and still feeling like something's missing. I'm Krystal Arthur, and I've been exactly where you are. I've been married for 11 years, and most of those we were in spiritual leadership, preaching heaven while living in hell, both as individuals and as a couple. We lived through rage, anxiety, depression, and caused trauma to our 5 children. We followed all the conventional advice, confided in mentors, and went to the marriage retreats year after year. The message was always the same: behave better, resist your desires, submit, and obey the rules. But here's the truth. The real transformation happens when you stop trying to fix yourself and everyone else and start accepting and loving yourself unconditionally. The secret is in reclaiming your power and discovering where you're holding yourself back from intimacy, aliveness, and your truest desires, both in your relationship and in your business. As a wellness or spiritual entrepreneur or leader, you feel like you should have the answers, the spiritual perspective, the clarity to navigate and balance it all. But when your marriage is falling apart and you're starting to feel like a hypocrite in your own business, it can feel impossible to find a way forward. I've lived that disconnection, the feeling of hopelessness and the heartbreak of wondering if divorce is the only answer. Through my coaching, I guide individuals and couples to uncover their deepest desire and finally start to build the life, relationship, and business they're meant for. You'll learn to heal from within, letting go of the constant need to fix, and create a relationship where you and your partner become the power couple you've always dreamed of, full of purpose, passion, and potential. In this 6-month container, together we will create a field of safety, sacred sovereignty, love, and sensual empowerment that will elicit a remembrance in you of who you are and what you're capable of. It will transmute the energy of doubt, lack, shame, and resentment, and resurrect in you the capacity to have a thriving relationship with your pleasure, purpose, power, and partner. With this truth anchored and embodied, you will see your sovereign vision begin to manifest and experience the fullness of your magic. This is by far my most powerful offering. To learn more and schedule a free 1-hour clarity call, go to KrystalArthur.com or click the link in the show notes. This is a virtual offering. I'm on a mission to see as many individuals and couples come alive to their power, purpose, prosperity, and pleasure as possible. Again, that's my name, KrystalArthur.com, or find the link in the show notes of this episode.
I love that. I love that you respond differently in different, depending on where you are. And that's super fair and super honest of you to share as well. I'm curious, like, as far as your relationships go, being that you also are a relationship coach, how do your relationships impact or inspire your business, your coaching, and your nude yoga facilitation?
How do my relationships impact my work? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. And I should mention, I did see like a picture of you and your honey on Instagram, and I was like, oh. And all right, so you're going to be doing couples coaching as well in the new year, is that right?
I'm in the process of coaching a few couples now, getting my graduation sessions complete so that I can launch that new part of my business in the new year. So yes, I am moving through that. And I actually think, like, your question, how do my relationships affect my work? I actually think it goes the reverse way for me. I think my work and my studies are then impacting my relationships, and in a beautiful way. So I'm constantly yearning to learn. I am a forever student. I know I'm a forever student. And every year I will like dive deep into a different realm of learning and really love it, and then come out the next year and have integrated it, then want to teach it. So like the coaching certification I did was the catalyst for my relationship to just up level, because I learned so much about myself. I learned how to communicate properly, how to connect in ways that fill my cup, but then also meet them where they are. And my nude yoga work, I'm constantly showing up for myself in my nude yoga work. So I'm never forgetting to fill my cup first and to explore my relationship to myself outside of my partnership. So I feel it really is the other way for me. I've learned so much from my studies and my work that now impacts my romantic partnership, but then that has rippled out into every relationship, with family members, with people I meet on the streets, with my clients, it's just I'm forever feeling more at home in myself and more grounded in how I want to live as, a woman in society.
You said that so perfectly. So I don't even think we mentioned that we're in the same programs. And that's been my experience too, is that it's really that the program itself, and then putting the skills and lessons from the program into action through my own coaching, through my own business, has only amplified and magnified all the goodness in our relationship.
Yes.
And then that's some real ways to dive even deeper and get to know ourselves better and explore the dynamics in our relationship even more. So yeah, you just said it so beautifully. Yeah. What advice do you have for someone else? Maybe they have an idea, or they've done a certification, whatever it might be, but it's in a space similar to yours, that there's lots of misperceptions, misconceptions, myths, and maybe it's like a taboo around that area. What advice do you give them as they're starting off and launching their business?
Yes, I think one of the most important things that I have learnt with my taboo work, quote unquote taboo work, is, and this came from hindsight, right? Like, I had to drag myself through the dirt for many years before I found where I am now. But it's to, before you launch, really understand what you want to share with the world. Don't go in with one foot in, one foot out. Maybe I'll change my mind here, or of course that's allowed. Evolution is going to happen, but know in your core what your mission is, and then share from that place. I think a really important lesson that I learned is you're not here to serve everybody. Don't try. You are just going to wear yourself out. You are going to spend way too much time trying to convince people to do your work when they're not the people you want to serve anyway. So I think be very focused on speaking to the people that want to do your work. And the hardest thing for me to break through with my work was running an online business and showing up on social media. I'm not allowed to share my work on social media. So I have had to kind of play their game. I've had to play their game on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. I have to find very different ways to share what I do so that I'm not constantly deleted and shadow banned and, restricted. But then also find platforms where you can be your full business. So my website, that is mine. I can share about nude yoga. I can post photos of me in the nude doing yoga on top of a mountain. I can write blogs about sexuality. That's my space. My email list, that is also mine. I can share everything I want to in that space. And I also have a Sunroom account, which is an online paid membership platform. So people will pay me $10 a month and I can post whatever I want to post over there. And to be honest, that's the stuff I want to share on Instagram anyway, but now I actually get paid for it. So I feel like the value, the energy exchange is better like that. So it would be, number one, fully understand your mission. Number two, don't waste your time trying to convince people to enjoy your work. Speak to the people who want your work. And three, you may need to play the game on social media, not be the fullest expression of your business, but give yourself those other platforms where you can be that full expression of yourself, because those are the people that will follow those platforms are the people that you want to work with anyway.
So good. Yeah, we don't own Facebook or Instagram. Those can be taken away from us. So having a space that is yours, that you own and control, and yeah, it be your fullest expression.
Yes.
Great. I love that. Can you take me to maybe a specific moment in time where you were just blown away, just so moved by how your work was transformative for one of your clients, for a woman or a couple?
I think my in-person workshops is where my deepest passion lives. I'm very empathetic. I'm very energetic. So to be able to actually sit in a space with multiple people and feel the transformation as it happens is where I really, I get just flooded with, I can't even, the words are just not even coming, but it's in those moments where I'm sitting there and I'm watching these women in real time in front of me have these moments of clarity that really just knocks me back every time. And I go, wow, this is just, I wish we could do this every night, all over the world. But with my online coaching, that, I don't coach in person. So the coaching is always done online. It's not during the sessions that I feel that what you were asking. It's the moments in between when the clients reach out to me after the session had kind of digested and integrated in a few days or weeks. They reach out to me and they are just like, I didn't know that any of this was possible. I didn't know that I could be freed from this trauma, or I didn't know that anyone could validate me in this way. And it's little things like that where people can really not believe that there's anything better. We can get stuck in such downward spiraling, patterns that we really don't believe that we can get out, especially if we've been living that unserving pattern for a very, very long time. And the work that you and I do, the methodology that we coach, is unbelievably profound. You can do one session with someone and have them walk away going, I didn't believe that was possible. And they could have spent 5 years in therapy. It is just, there is no words for it. So I think our work, it always blows me away how well it is received.
Yeah. Again, so well said. I actually, yesterday, I was with a client and my heart just flew open. She said exactly what you just shared. She said that she done counseling for years.
Mm-hmm.
And in 3 sessions together, she feels herself transforming in ways that she didn't know were possible.
Yeah.
She went from not feeling deserving to feeling completely deserving. Just totally deserving. And like she just was giggling and laughing, and like her posture changed, her facial expressions changed, her like tension in her back went away. It was within an hour. It was like a day and night difference. And just, yeah, it's so rewarding to witness that. Yeah, that was so well said. Okay. I think that covers it. This has been so good, Ricky. Like, I truly believe this is going to serve a lot of people, introduce them to another way to meet themselves and challenge themselves and to embrace their body and their self-identity. And also go for it. Like, be brave. And if they have a way that they want to serve the world, even if they might get some bullying or backlash about it, but they know it's truly in service and it's a healing, something that's very healing and helpful, to go for it and to have that confidence to know that they can survive the misconceptions. So thank you so much. Where can people learn more about you?
Yeah, all of my platforms are under my name, Ricky Yoet. So the spelling of that will be in the show notes, I'm sure. So yeah, Facebook, Instagram, and my website, it's all Ricky Yoet. So if you want to go and have a little look, that's where I'll be.
Awesome. And with your coaching, who do you, like, what's your niche? Who do you specifically serve with your coaching? And I know you have a special offer for them.
Yes. So at the moment, my focus is definitely on couples, really building that for the new year. But my core love, as I've been talking about, is around women's empowerment. So I am open to receive couples to keep exploring that new avenue of my business, but I'm also really encouraging any woman who wants to kind of step fully into her self-empowerment and her self-confidence to reach out to me. And yeah, I do have a special offer for the audience, and this offer will stand. I don't know if, you might listen to this recording in 3 years. I don't know. But whenever you listen to it, reach out to me. But I would love to offer 20% off for an initial session. And my sessions are 90 minutes, and you always get a personally recorded practice or meditation to then keep forever and continue your work. So 20% off the first one if you'd like to come and give it a try.
Oh, so good. Thank you. I really appreciate your time and you sharing your wisdom and your experience. And I look forward to doing this again sometime.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Divine Desire podcast. I'm Krystal Arthur. This is where together we dive into the wellness, woo, and taboo in business and in ourselves to reclaim our power and heal our relationships with our pleasure, purpose, prosperity, and partners. You're invited to check out the next episode. Please leave a rating and review on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube. Also, if you found anything helpful, inspiring, or curious, please share this podcast with a friend. If you want to invite me to be on your podcast, apply to be our next guest, or receive more teachings and tools from me, head over to KrystalArthur.com and join our free community and email list. Thank you so much for being here.